Crews continue to fight multiple wildfires in Southern California. The death toll from the fires has risen to 16. Authorities say at least 16 people are also missing. That number is also expected to rise. CAL FIRE says the Palisades fire has destroyed more than 5,000 structures. The Eaton fire has destroyed at least 7,000. This comes as Southern California is expected to get stronger winds this week. Thank you for joining us at 5. I'm Andrea Flores.
And I'm Cecil Hannibal. Powerful Santa Ana winds are expected to return to Southern California overnight. Red flag warnings are up across the Los Angeles area through Wednesday. The latest update from CAL FIRE says the Palisades fire has burned more than 23,000 acres. Containment is still at 11%, and the Eaton fire is over 14,000 acres and is 27% contained. Crews have made some progress on two smaller fires. The Kenneth fire is just over 1,000 acres and is now at 100% containment. And the Hearst fire is just under 800 acres and 89% contained.
Los Angeles County officials are warning residents to closely monitor critical evacuation warnings and orders, and they're reassuring residents that all fire and emergency personnel are ready for whatever comes their way.
This wind event is approaching us, and it's approaching us very, very quickly. I want to reassure you that your LEFD, all of our regional partners, every single agency that has come from up and down this state and outside of the state, we are ready. We're grateful for everybody who's here to support us in one of the most challenging natural events in the history of the city. And with that, it's not over. So we need everybody to stay safe. We need to stay informed. And I tell you, from the first responders that are here, we're going to keep fighting this fight. We're going to get this fire out, and we're going to rebuild.
The fire department also said repopulation will not be discussed until those red flag warnings are over.
FEMA officials are warning people in Southern California that the wildfires in the region remain dangerous. Today, Director Deanne Criswell said the wildfire's trajectory will all depend on the weather.
And so I think the biggest thing that people need to know is that this is still dangerous, and they still need to make sure they're listening to their local officials so they can keep themselves safe. I know that so many people probably want to get back into the area and check on their homes, but with the winds picking back up, you never know which way they're going to go. And so they really need to pay attention, listen to what's going on so they don't get in harm's way. And our firefighters can continue to do the great work that they've been doing to try to contain this fire.
Criswell says that more than 24,000 Californians have registered for FEMA assistance so far.
A live look right now over the LA County fires. You can see that there is a huge burn scar here. We have covered many of these fires throughout the week, and we'll continue to follow this in the incoming days. But of course, you can see some of that fire retardant, huge areas where the fire swept through right now. We want to check in now with meteorologist Dirk Verdorn, who is tracking the conditions firefighters are facing right now. So Dirk, the biggest issue tonight of concern is the wind.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the winds, and they're going to be on the increase. But what I love about that video that we can see there, that look of the burn scar, that's horrible. But the good news is we're not seeing those big flames leaping up through the mountains right now. And this is another indicator here. You can see where the Palisades fire is taking place, and it's still smoldering. There's still burning going on, but we're not seeing the big plume of smoke that was coming from the fire as well as the Eaton fire. We saw the Eaton fire really decrease in the amount of smoke it was producing as well yesterday. And so today it's the Palisades fire. And that's great news. Again, as far as the smoke, as far as the growth of the fire, and as far as air quality concerns. And so air quality is looking pretty good in the area. It's in a good category. And so that's because of the smoke, and we're not seeing as much smoke. Still have some winds, current winds ranging anywhere from 5 to 13 miles per hour. But it's really what's going to be happening as we go through Monday, late Monday through Tuesday and on into Wednesday. That's when we get those east winds that start picking up again. That's the Santa Ana winds. And we're looking at wind gusts that could get up to 50 plus miles per hour. It's going to drive humidities down between 10 to 20%. And of course, the strongest winds will be in the hills and through the mountains. So that's what's expected from that time frame of Monday night through much of Wednesday. Back over to you.
Dirk, thank you. Governor Gavin Newsom signed an executive order to help fire victims. Early this morning, Newsom agreed to suspend permitting and review requirements, making it easier to rebuild homes and businesses in the LA area. Newsom saying in part, the executive order I signed today will help cut permitting delays and an important first step in allowing our communities to recover faster and stronger. This order will also protect prices on building materials in LA County through January of next year. Newsom is also taking suggestions, ordering state agencies to look for ways to streamline the rebuilding and recovery process.
On today's edition of Meet the Press, Governor Newsom spoke with NBC News about his plans for recovery. He has called for an independent investigation into the state's water supply issues and talked about the questions that remain.
The same ones you're asking, same ones that people when I'm in the streets are asking, yelling about. What the hell happened? What happened to the water system? Was it, and by the way, was it just overwhelm? That you had so much that was used, we drew it down. Was it pipes? Was it electricity? It was a combination of pipes, electricities, and pumps. What was that drawdown impossible because you lost 7,000+ structures right here anyway, and every single structure we lost had a pipe that was leaking, and we would have lost that water pressure anyway. Did it contribute in any way to our inability to fight the fire, or were 99-mile-an-hour winds determinative, and there was really no firefight that could have been more meaningful? So all of us want to know those answers, and I just don't want to wait because people are asking me. I want to know those facts. I want them objectively determined, and that the chips fall where they may. This is not about finger pointing.
You can watch Meet the Press with Kristen Welker every Sunday morning at 6 right here on KCRA 3.
And take a look at this. Video shows firefighting air tankers drawing water from the Stone Canyon Reservoir in Los Angeles. They're using it to fight the Palisades fire. According to CAL FIRE, they have 39 helicopters assigned to fight this fire from the sky. And numerous firefighting air tankers throughout the state are helping as well.
The FBI is asking for the public's help to identify a drone operator after it grounded a plane fighting the wildfires. They shared these photos, and the drone hit a Canadian Super Scooper aircraft fighting the Palisades fire on Thursday. It's designed to scoop up more than 1,500 gallons of water. The LA County Fire Chief says the plane should be back up and flying by tomorrow. It is a federal crime to interfere with firefighting efforts on public lands. It is punishable by up to 12 months in prison.
What started as a grassroots outreach has turned into a major donation hub to assist those impacted by these fires. Santa Anita Park in Arcadia is known for horse racing, but now people are flocking to the track with donations and aid. From shoes to jackets to food, the Aid Center for Victims of the Eaton Fires now covers acres. And the track canceled races this weekend and let volunteers take over their parking lot. Those impacted by the wildfires are saying this outpouring of support is amazing, including one volunteer who came all the way from Texas just to help out.
It's amazing how all these people come together and help. People that you don't even know, but we're a family.
I want to help because I think that all of our families, all of those brothers that lost their homes and others that are grieving, I think that it'll be uplifting that they know that the community is getting together to help them.
Thousands of people, both those dropping off donations as well as those in need, have come by the track. The donation center is expected to remain open through Wednesday.
More Northern California fire departments are sending resources down to Southern California. Fairfield Fire says they've sent 2 firefighters to the Eaton fire. They're working as fire line paramedics. They also sent 1 firefighter to the Palisades fire with a canine who will offer support to first responders on the front lines. The Turlock Fire Department sharing this photo on social media. 4 firefighters and an engine headed down to the Palisades fire last night as part of a Cal OES task force.
The Department of Public Health says children may be having a difficult time coping with the stress and anxiety caused by the wildfires burning in Southern California.
Even if they aren't personally impacted by the flames, it is important to pay attention to signs they might be overwhelmed right now. KCRA 3's Leticia Ordaz spoke to a child psychiatrist from Sacramento about what parents need to know.
With neighborhoods left devastated by the fires in Southern California, some children are left feeling helpless and scared that this could also happen to their homes in Northern California.
There's so much going on in everybody's mind, and it includes kids. They might also are trying to exercise their own capacity to put themselves in the shoes of the people who have been evacuated. So it is a very normal human response.
Dr. Azra Noberry is a child psychiatrist for Sutter Health in Sacramento. She says anxiety is normal, but it could quickly spiral if kids don't have accurate information.
They might think that the entire city of LA is on fire or something like that. They can develop some kind of anxiety disorder if they're really afraid, if they're living in the acute stress situation. They are constantly feeling that something traumatizing is going to happen to them, and it is not healthy for kids. So we really need to limit the information that the younger kids have.
Dr. Noberry says it's important to validate your child's feelings, to let them express themselves, and to encourage them to maintain their daily schedule.
And even for the older kids, we need to make sure that we create a sense of safety at home. We try to keep the routine as much as possible to make sure that they understand that our life is not impacted. We are prepared for the future if something happens, but let's keep the routine and actually go through our days as we usually do.
Parents we spoke with in Sacramento say they're trying their best to keep a healthy balance to their lives right now.
Definitely as a parent, I feel like it's our responsibility to be mindful of what our kiddos see. And so right now, given my daughter's age, definitely limiting her screen time.
Of course, as a parent, you need to regulate what you're kind of showing to your children. But in this particular case, I'm fine and comfortable with them seeing that type of stuff because it is just a reality of our situation.
If you notice your child is crying more than usual, not eating well, or sleep is disrupted, it may be time to ask for help.
But if this continues for several days, it is an opportunity to check in with their doctor and making sure that if they need to go to see a psychiatrist.
In Sacramento, Leticia Ordaz, KCLA 3 News.
Dr. Noberry from Sutter in Sacramento says children can feel empowered during this time by packing an emergency bag and feeling prepared should they ever need it. And of course, we will continue to follow developments on the Southern California wildfires, both on air and on our KCRA 3 app. Make sure you have the push alerts enabled to get the latest updates. And a lot of people have been asking how they can help the fire victims in Southern California. And you can do so just by scanning the KCRA 3 code right now on your screen. This will allow you to donate. KCRA 3 is teaming up with the American Red Cross to help people impacted by the devastating wildfires burning across LA County. Your donation will support the victims with disaster relief and other humanitarian efforts.